Hello, parents. Welcome to the Masterful Parenting Podcast. I'm Anne Alvares, parent coach, school counselor, and mother of two. Do you sometimes struggle with your parenting role? Do you notice that sometimes you're repeating patterns that you learned in your own childhood? Maybe you are carrying childhood pain that has not been healed, and you notice that it is showing up in your parenting with your own children. Perhaps you yell or get frustrated easily. Maybe you are directing them or telling them what to do all the time, and you notice that your actions are affecting your relationship with your children. Well, parents, I totally understand this. I came from childhood pain and I learned how to be a relational parent with my children. And I can teach this to you as well. This podcast is all about learning how to heal the childhood pain that we are carrying so that we can foster healthy relationships with our kids. Join us every week for a new show, and we will dive into the healing and the fostering of healthy relationships with our children. Hello, parents. Welcome to the Masterful Parenting Show and Podcast. I have a special guest today, and I'm so excited. Her name is Helen Barreau, aka Coach Helen. She is a John Maxwell certified coach on an educational consultant, the founder of the Raising Purpose Teen Leaders Movement, RPTL Movement and Academy, the author of the Success Guide for Teens, and the founder of the Success Guide for Teen Academy. Welcome, Helen.
Hello, Anne. Thank you so much for
Hello.
inviting me.
I'm so glad you're
I am
here.
so excited as
Oh,
well.
yeah, I'm glad you can share some of your expertise with parents. How can parents help their teens to develop their leadership and purpose in their lives?
Well, let's be real. Nowadays, we all know that really purpose is not something that is being mentioned really. Like when children are growing up, it's more something that we discover a bit later that adults really tend to really focus on. And I think that I believe it's time to really reshift the mindset of parents and help them to see that there is a new way of doing things. Before, it was more focused on, I would say, the old ways of parenting. But as we embark into this new dynamic, this new economy, I think it's time that we readjust the mind and we allow really preteens and teens to really dive into understanding the word purpose. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think it's something that is very important, especially to help teenagers to really grow into finding their truth, finding their identity. And we all know that really teenagers suffer a lot from leadership crisis, self-leadership crisis, from self-leadership leadership identity crisis, and there is so many turmoil in their hearts, especially from finding themselves. They really lack motivation, they lack vision,
Mhm.
they don't have really that intrinsic desire, intrinsic motivation to really find their truth and themselves. So the reason why, it's important that we need to help parents to shift their mindset so they can help their children, their teenagers to focus on purpose is because it will be a way of giving them a head start in life. And I think this is what is missing nowadays. So how do you help your teen really to help them to grow into purpose? I think the main thing needs to be focusing on yourself inside first. And I think that it is something that people are growing more into getting more self-aware. Self-awareness is the first thing that parents have to focus on to really shift their mindset from understanding purpose themselves, And I believe as well, the second thing is growing into inner healing, because I know you talk a lot about
Mm.
in healing your inner childhood, your childhood pain, and
Yes.
inner healing is very important, because when you are actually connecting to your emotion, you're connecting to yourself, and
Hmm.
you are actually making amendment with your past, you can actually see things from a different lens. And I think that you touch a lot about that in your podcast. So inner healing is very important. I would share as well that the next thing is that parents really need to be more purpose-led rather than I would say being in the background of their life. They have
Hmm.
to understand like how they can grow into finding their uniqueness, finding who they are, because I believe a lot of parents are not really in tune within themselves, within their belief, within their values, just finding who they are really. So these are the three main things that I think when we talk about the inner growth that parents have to focus on. Definitely.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay, then repeat the three things. I know I heard like we're parenting from the inside out,
Yes.
right?
Inside
Okay.
out. Yes.
So we're finding our purpose as well.
Yes.
Like we need to be
Yeah.
in our purpose as well, right?
Yes, you need
And
to
then,
be purpose-led. Yes, definitely. You need to
okay.
grow, because you won't find your purpose straight away, but I think you need to have a desire to grow into purpose and
Yeah.
grow into a leader, a parent leader who take charge, who shape,
Yes.
their destiny.
Yeah, because we're modeling that to our children, right?
Definitely,
Okay. Okay.
definitely,
And
definitely.
then, and was there something else I missed? You said three things.
So I think the first thing is the self-awareness. The
Right.
second thing is the inner healing. The third thing is being purpose-led, as I was saying. And I think as well, spiritual alignment, because
Hmm.
wherever you are in your faith, I think it's important that we have to tune with our spirit man first. It doesn't matter what is your faith. I think what is important is that you are a spirit first before
Hmm.
really living here on earth. You have to transcend to that place where you connected to something, a higher power. And
Yes.
this will allow you to connect within yourself even more, because you will discover yourself and see things about yourself that you've never seen before.
Yes, yes. We've had conversations about this, right? Like when we're aligning ourselves with our spirit and God,
Yes, yes,
that it's so, so powerful, right? Because
yes,
God can give us our purpose, right?
yes. And I
And
think it is found in that, into
yes,
tapping into the creator, into tapping into that person that has made you. You can't find yourself outside of knowing the creator. Yeah.
right. And then how does God show us our purpose? Helen, maybe we can
Oh,
talk about that a little bit.
no, it's fine. We can talk about it. So I think first of all, it comes with a desire for knowing purpose. And as I was saying, purpose is a big word. We talk about,
Yes.
oh, purpose, we need to find our purpose, yes, but now how do we define
Purpose, purpose.
purpose? And purpose is really what you were created for, what you
Yes.
were born for. And I tend to really help people to grow into fulfillment, because especially in the society where we live in, the system really has conditioned us to really think about career more than
Yes.
purpose,
Yes.
about being in the rat race, being in that system that is locking us with and doesn't really allow us to think outside the box.
Right.
So when you actually, can you imagine if you actually speak to your children, preteens or teens, about purpose from a young age? You say you have a purpose. No, you need to find a job or you need to
Mm.
find a career, but you have
Yes.
something greater. You need to find who you are and really discover your assignment on earth. When you start speaking that kind of truth in their mind, in their heart, this is a haha moment for them, because they
Yes.
realize that they are being creating for something greater. They are not here by mistake, and they have something to look forward, a sense of life that they have to work towards.
Yeah.
And that's what I think purpose is. Purpose is really like who you are born, what you were created for, and your career is what you are paid for. So there is a
Yeah.
difference when you actually pay the bills, pay
True.
things around you, but there is another difference when you actually find your true self, the reason why you were created, and you can actually walk into that assignment and you can find it. But seriously, let's be real. Purpose is very hard to walk into. It's really hard to walk into. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of determination, a lot of perseverance, and commitment. If
Yes.
purpose was easy to discover, everybody would be in purpose, but only 3% of the world population is really fulfilled and working in purpose, because
Right.
there is something greater, but it's so fulfilling. You are in purpose, I'm in purpose, and it's so fulfilling, to be in that walk.
But for me, I find like when I'm walking my purpose, I have energy. Like I get
Oh, yes,
excited about it.
me
And so
too.
that's one of the things I want parents to know. Like it shouldn't be like this looming cloud or this whole weight. When you're in
Yes,
purpose, it fuels you. You're excited,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Because that's God's given you this desire, and He's going to give you the energy for it, right?
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah.
So let's say I wanted to think about like how you can find your purpose. I would say, first of all, have a desire, because you asked me this question. So have a desire for purpose. I think as well, being around people of purpose that
Yes.
really make you shift your mind, because you need to be in a room bigger than what you've experienced before. You need to be around people who are in purpose, because they will shift your mindset, change the way you think, on how to grow in purpose. And to find your purpose is really daily, learning, reading books, daily growth, and obviously I would say the main thing as well is growing in prayer, and being connected and in obedience, to the
Yes.
voice, that is
Absolutely.
within you.
Absolutely.
So obedience is key, and taking one day at a time, and be willing to have a vision, to really focus on the vision that is in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
So, with regards to parents, I've been thinking like on my parenting journey, what I wanted to do was expose my children to as many different activities as possible so that they can find out what they really like, right?
mm,
And would you agree, like because children, they might not be like, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm not sure. Right. And so, but
mm.
they won't find out until they've been exposed. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, I think so, but I think there is a different ways of it's great that they do different activities. I think it's fantastic, but I think that like parents need to help them to focus more on self-leadership. Leadership is the first thing, all these activities around doing so many things. Sometimes you can be busy but not effective.
Yes,
And
true.
this is what I think that leadership, parents should allow their children to be around leaders, like do leadership activities, like do leadership programs. When I talk about leadership, it's not about just position and just being, a leader with heavy burden. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Mm.
about giving them an opportunity to really discover the leader within them, because it all starts from within and self-leadership. And a lot of parents think that they can like their children can actually grow into that when they're 18, they're a bit older. But I'm really, really tired of seeing so many parents who don't really take that opportunity when their kids are younger, because
Yes.
I believe it's a limiting belief. I believe it's something that we're not really giving them a favor in life. We're
Mm.
giving them a disfavor by not exposing them to understanding the leader within them. I have been actually a leadership coach, to preteens.
Yes.
And I've seen like they were 7, 8 years old, 10 years old, and they have been transformed within them to understand what is leadership, but
Yeah.
and I think this is the first thing that parents has to focus on,
Okay.
growing them into leaders.
Okay. So how do we help parents that have unmotivated teenagers, because I see that a lot in my counseling. Kids that don't want to come to school, they give in to the day-to-day desires and don't look at the big picture of their lives.
Mm,
And
mm,
parents struggle with that. So I
mm.
don't know how do we help parents with that
Well,
part?
I would say that the first thing is never the child's, is the parent. It is the parent, because when you think about a seed, a child is a seed, in a way.
Yes,
There is a seed within them, and the seed can only grow from having a safe environment. Some that he can really grow into a space where he's learning, he's getting the right ingredients, the right nutrients to grow. And if the environment is not propelling, that growth, then obviously the seed is going to stifle. And this is where you can see children who are unmotivated, because maybe I cannot blame the parents, obviously, because parenting is as hard as it is. But I think it's about self-introspection and realizing, okay, what am I doing as a parent that can help my child to grow? Am I not as well walking in purpose? Am I not as well motivated in my life? Because children really reproduce what they see.
yes,
So this is and when you think about life in general, when you see leaders whose kids are around leaders, they become leaders naturally. When you
yes,
see children who are more around in the right environment with parents who are actually growing into finding their identity, they are naturally, of course, they are children, so they won't be 100% on everything, but they will actually pick up those traits of character in their life, and they will become motivated. So I would say the
mhm,
first thing is self-introspection. The second thing is making sure that you create connection with your children.
yes,
I think
yes,
connection matters, because by you connecting with your children, they will be more able to listen to you. You'll be more able to connect with them, and you will try to find ways. That's what I call extrinsic, sorry,
extrinsic,
motivation, where you
yes,
would find things that will allow them to be motivated from within. So
yes,
there is
yes,
few things that can work out, but you
yes.
need first to see what you can do as a parent to help them in that
I love
journey.
that message so much because I feel like many parents, and I used to be this way as well until I learned, we look at the child and we don't look at
Mm,
ourselves, right?
mm,
But what we're doing influences what
yeah,
happens with our children. And so we always have to
definitely.
look at what am I doing? Am I being a good role model?
Mm,
Am I living in purpose? Like the things that
mm.
I want for my children, am I doing those things?
That's it,
Right?
pretty much, pretty much. But I think what is a bit saddening as well is that there are a lot of parents who don't want to be in purpose. They are
Yeah.
okay with their life not being in that place of fulfillment. And they
Yes.
still want that for their children, but they don't know how to pass that limiting belief,
Yes.
and give that to their children. And there is more into that, in terms of breaking procrastination and being around the right tribe. I think it helps a lot. Finding a tribe of parents, like-minded parents who can support you in that journey, because it takes a village to raise a child, isn't it?
Yes.
So
Yes.
tribe is important, people. And as well, I think having a vision. We have a vision for our finances, for our holidays. People plan their holidays before it comes, like every year. So where are we going next year? What are we
Yes.
doing? But there
Yes.
is no, parenting vision. What is your vision? The vision you want to see for your children?
Yeah.
Of course, you cannot have everything to the T, but there is some trait that you want to raise and to rise up in the life of your children. And you
Yes.
have to really understand how to actually make those things happen, is by
Yes.
having a clear vision and understanding of who you want to raise as a child.
100%. I think I mentioned Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And
Yes,
I really like the begin with the end in mind.
I love it.
Ah, because when we begin with the end, then we know where we're moving.
Yes,
We know
yes,
the direction, right?
yes,
Of where we
yes.
want our children.
Yes.
So
And I
we're
don't
not.
know why like parents don't understand, like they just wait. They think that their kids are too young, but I think it's an excuse. When
Yeah.
you have a preteen and a teen, it is not too young to really help them. They think, oh, but they have time along the way. They have time in life to discover themselves. But the problem is that I understand that, but at the same time, when you tell them that they have time, you are not giving them the best opportunity to choose what is best for them from the beginning, because
Hmm.
they end up being in the rat race. That's
Hmm.
the whole point, is that they do not enter the rat race. So they
Well,
can, because after, it's hard to get out of the rat race, isn't it? Isn't it hard? Because you have a lot of
yes,
adults who want to get out of the rat race, and
yes,
they're still trying to get out of it, but it's really hard because of what
yeah.
they've learned for years.
I think parents that are struggling, like if you are struggling with your self-esteem,
Mm,
struggling with your finances, and you feel this weight, this burden that is so difficult to move forward, right? And
mm,
and you're right, it all starts with our mindset.
mm.
Because if we're beginning with the end in mind, we're not getting stuck in what it
Yes,
is today, right?
yes,
We're moving forward, saying,
yes,
now is not forever, and my
yes.
finances are going to get better. My life is
Mm-hmm.
going to get better, and I'm going
Yes,
to move towards my purpose, right?
yes.
Yeah,
And that's the thing, is the end goal is you want to move towards your purpose. So because you have that end goal, but now I wonder what is their vision, what is their end goal? Their end goal maybe might be to raise their children, which is it's very commendable. I really salute all those parents who are really putting the work out there. But I believe as well it's important that parents inspire their children to change.
mhm,
It's not just, yes, you can love them, they can love you, but now inspiration comes from within and from seeing someone in where they are in their life. And I
yeah,
hear so many parents who like, I don't have enough finances, I cannot take care of this. It's such a
yeah,
burden, because they are struggling themselves. And obviously there is a beautiful story that will come out of it. Let's
absolutely.
be real. I believe that there is a beautiful story that will come out of it.
Yeah,
It's just that we want that story to start early for their children, not when
yes,
they're going to end up in the rat race, and they would
yes,
be able to try to get out of the rat race as well. So
yes,
this is what
yeah,
I'm trying to shift in the mindset of parents, is start when they are preteens,
mhm,
start when they are young. Do
mhm,
not take that limiting belief in your life to really not give them a head start in life, because there is
yes,
so many things that has to be unlearned when you
yes,
learn stuff, that it
yeah.
can be really hard and detrimental for you because you haven't broken the cycles of your life.
Yes, yes. I was talking to my student yesterday, and she has grown up like with poverty, right? She's an immigrant, but she is in grade 12, and she has dreams for her life. And I was just empowering her. I was like, you could be the first in your family to break this cycle
That's
of
it.
poverty. You could be
Yes,
it, right? And
yes,
so that's living in purpose, right? Like I don't
yes,
want to continue generational scarcity, generational
yes,
poverty.
yes,
I want to move through that, right? And
yes,
so yeah,
yes. And
we're not supposed to be struggling that way
no, we
on the
are
planet.
not.
Yeah.
We are not supposed to be struggling. It is not what God has for us. He wants
Yes.
us to be free so we can free other people, and He wants us to be fulfilled and live that life of royalty.
Absolutely.
And because we have never been educated, because we have ignorance and limiting belief, we live
Mhm.
under our God-given, I would say, ability.
Yeah. We
And
have to give up the old way of thinking and
yes,
adopt new empowering ways of thinking about ourselves and our
definitely.
lives and our children for sure.
Yes, that's what I think as well. And
Mhm.
I would say, as you were talking about purpose, you need to observe your child. Observing your child matters, and not focusing only on school. Because
Mhm.
yes, you can have a child who's academic, but this is not everything.
No.
Purpose is the natural gift, the natural abilities that they have. And when you observe your child and you see what they are doing is really good, this is when you should direct them. It's observing them and seeing what they're really good at. And then that's when you actually maybe pay extra training to develop that gift, not when
Yes.
they are like struggling somewhere and you're like, no, I need to pay extra so they can actually get better at it. You are
Yes.
not leveraging the gift, you're not leveraging their life. You want
Yes.
them to be extra good in math because they are struggling in math. I think yes, it's good to actually pass math. We need
Yes.
to pass math and pass
Yeah.
English,
Right.
but it's not everything. It's not
No.
everything.
No.
It's finding if you can see your child singing and oh my gosh, you sing so well. But
Yes.
no, because society put us in a box and be like, oh, you can't, it doesn't make money. You can't be a singer. Like
Yes.
think about something else. There is so many things. He can be a singer, start young and find a manager that can manage his gift, and
Yes.
he could really propel himself into that journey. Or just a child who loves drawing. There is
Yes.
so many things, that can be done. And nowadays, I think it's time to really educate children into entrepreneurship. I
Yes.
am 100% into entrepreneurship. Like,
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it.
I love it
Yeah.
too. I love the idea that and parents need to know that we're all born with gifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're supposed to use those gifts
Yes.
on earth, right? And
Yes.
so we need to pay attention to our own gifts, what we're
Yes.
good at, what we like, what we enjoy, and we need to pay attention to our children's gifts,
Yes.
right?
And
Because
this is,
the
yeah.
gifting,
Yeah,
yeah,
and this is what is important even when you go and you apply for a job or you want to connect with people, you ask them like, what are your gifts? This is
yeah,
when you grow in self-discovery. You find yourself and discover who you are. Yeah.
amazing, amazing. Boy, I could talk to you all day, Helen.
Yeah. I have one more thing I want to share,
Okay, go ahead.
which is the race. I came up with an acronym and it's called the race. It's called RACE, okay? RACE.
Hmm.
And this is the thing that I want parents to really start shifting their mindset into and say, you know what, I'm on a race. I'm in a race. The R stands for resetting, okay? Resetting your thinking. The A stands for aligning your emotions. The C stands for cultivate your vision, and the E stands for expand your mind.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, so race is very important, so they can actually bring that purpose-led teenager.
Hmm. That is so good. We can teach our kids that. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. Okay. So resetting, uh, align your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
cultivate your vision,
Mm-hmm.
expand your
Mind.
expand your mind. I love it. So that's all learning. Like you're always learning.
Always learning.
Love
Always
it.
learning.
Oh, well, thank you, Coach Helen. I'm so happy you joined today and we learned so much. I just want to do a quick recap on for parents on the three things that will help you move your children through purpose and leadership, and that is self-awareness, inner healing, and being purpose led yourself. And this is
Yes.
what will help you to help your children to develop leadership and purpose. And
Love
Helen,
it.
where do people find you? They want to work with you?
So, so they can find me on my Instagram page at the Keys for Success. They can go on my website, www.thekeysforsuccess.com. And they can get as well for parents of preteens, they can get my free toolkits on my Instagram page and get connected with me there.
Okay, perfect. So I can put your links on with the notes, and
Mm-hmm.
parents will be able to access your tools and find you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you, parents. We will see you next time. Take care,
Thank you,
everybody.
parents, for listening.
Yeah, we love you. Okay,
Yes,
bye.
we
Thank you, parents, for joining the show today. I hope it was valuable and that you have some useful tools to use with your children. If this show blessed you or changed you in any way, I would appreciate a review on my podcast, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, or perhaps you could even recommend our Masterful Parenting to your family and friends. Thank you so much, parents.